everybody. Welcome to the new night. I guess I can't say new night and time. It's the new night, same time. It's Wednesday. It's 8 o'clock. It's time for the Get Off My Lawn podcast as my bride's over there in the producer's chair, muting her computer so I don't get a lot of feedback. I could hear myself just a second ago. Okay, so it's Wednesday. We're going to try this out. And I know that there's a lot of you out there that maybe tune in on Thursdays that you've got stuff going on tonight and you'll have to catch this on replay. What I'm really hoping for is that there will be others of you that can catch this on Wednesday and say, hey, actually, I like this night better. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to try this for at least the month of March, and we won't make any decisions whether or not this will remain permanent. But for the next 4 Wednesday nights, we will be trying this out. And I think, actually, are there 5 Wednesdays this month? 4 or 5 Wednesdays, we're going to try it. And we will we'll welcome any feedback. So if you like it better on Wednesdays, then we want to hear from you. And if you liked it better on Thursdays, we want to hear from you. And if you just like the show, you don't care what night you're going to watch it either way, we want to hear that. And if you think we suck and you hate the show, then I don't want to hear that. Just keep that to yourself. But if I tell you what, if you're tuning in, you hate the show, but you keep watching, then I don't even care. You can watch the whole thing and thumb it down every week. I don't even care as long as you're watching and you're giving us some feedback. So that's all we care about. You know what? If you think it sucks, share it with all of your friends and say, hey, watch this whole show and see how bad it sucks, and share it with everybody. Let's get a bunch of them watching on it too. That would be great. Okay, let's see here. A couple things that we want to go through, of course, before we bring in our esteemed panel here. Of course, if you're out there, we want to know that you are there. So please drop the comments. If you are new, then you can sure let us know where you are as well. And you don't have to give it, obviously, a very near address. You can just say, you know, what town or what state or what county or anything that you want there. You could even say, look, I'm tuning in from the USA, or heck, if you're in a different country, let us know that too. But we want to know where you are, and we want to know that you're out there. So get the comments coming, even if it's just to say hi. Drop those comments in there. Please hit the like button, the thumb up on the YouTube side, or the like on the Facebook side. Share it either way. Share it on both. And if you haven't subbed on YouTube, please do so. If you haven't followed on Facebook, please do. And then also help us get over to Rumble. We don't have the 25 subs yet on Rumble, and we desperately need that before we can go live over there. So catch us at rumble.com/user/Sandhills Media. If you're on Rumble, go sub. And if you're not on Rumble, go get on Rumble and then sub. Please, all of you. I see every week we get way more people that watch this than are required. Way more than 25 of you watch this every week. So please do that. Please go over there and help us so that we can get to more and more of you all the time. Also, we are a proud member of the Self-Defense Radio Network. Go check this and other really good shows out over there. But of course, wait till we're done. Go do it later. But go hit up sdrn.us and check out all the cool shows over there on the Self-Defense Radio Network. We're very, very proud, very humbled to be included in that list of really, really great stuff. And of course, the views and opinions expressed on this podcast belong to the individual expressing them, do not reflect the views of any of our sponsors or the other panelists. We are not offering any legal advice, no medical advice. We are not doctors or lawyers here. We will go ahead and go with the Brady Bunch episode, and we'd be remiss if we didn't mention tonight's show is brought to you by Sandhills Defense. Very, very cool firearms instruction company here in Northeast Nebraska. But we have class. We will travel, is what I like to say. So if your class, if you don't live close to Norfolk, Nebraska, but you'd like to have a class, talk to us. We will see if we can make that work with our schedule so that we can get that set up for you. So let us know on that. All right, let's get that back off the screen, and let's say hello to tonight's esteemed group of panelists. We'll start clockwise tonight. So if you're looking at the screen, it is your right, my left. We've got Paul Lathrop coming in, exhausted from vacation, but ready to rumble. How are you, sir? Oh, you're muted.
Now I should not be muted anymore.
Oh, well, you're not now. I got
Very
you.
cool.
How are you?
And doing great. And you're now up to 17 followers on Rumble.
Wow, because just the other day I looked at, I was at 14. So the three of you that subbed since then, God bless you. And the rest of you who haven't done it, God bless you too, but please go do it. So you just got back from vacation. You were in the Caribbean area there, the U.S. Virgin Islands.
Yep,
and,
I sure was.
You're tanned and just relaxed and ready to just get back to the grind.
The reason I'm wearing a hat tonight is because I am peeling on top. And so, yeah, got sun exposure in February, got a good sunburn, not 3rd degree, but it wasn't far. So spent a week down in the Caribbean on St. Thomas and St. John's, the U.S. Virgin Islands, had a blast, and now I'm recharged and ready to go back to work.
Good. Glad to have you here, and should make for a fun discussion with the four of us here. All right, so directly below Paul on the lower right quadrant of the screen, we've got everybody's favorite tactical teacher, one of Lincoln's 2 most eligible bachelors, Travis P11 in the house. How are you?
Man, I'm doing great. I think it's going to be a fun discussion tonight. I can see that the title's already starting to trigger some out there on the YouTube side.
It is.
So I don't think they know the context behind the title, but we're going to make it happen. It's going to be a great discussion. Quick shameless plug. Check out my podcast, Caliber Corner, Saturday morning at 8 a.m. Central Time over on YouTube. And we'll be going live, and hopefully I'll be bringing some range tests here for a couple of little firearms that we've added to the stable. So it should be a lot of fun. So we're having a good week, and this is going to make it even better.
We cannot, obviously, due to YouTube's rules, we cannot handle a firearm on a live broadcast. So before we went live, Travis had a little show and tell going on where he showed us his newest cordless hole punch. Or cordless paper drill, was it, right?
No, it was it was a cordless screwdriver is what it was. Cordless drill.
Cordless drill. It's for drilling holes in paper, or
made by a company called High Point.
Possibly other things for all legal purposes, and it drills 10 millimeter sized holes, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, like awesome. 10 in a row. Yeah.
Awesome. 10 holes in a row before you have to recharge it. Got it. Awesome. Okay. Made by the very, very world renowned High Point Corporation.
High Point and Decker, I think is what it's called.
High Point and Decker.
Porter High Point or Porter Cable High Point, something like that. So
it's, exactly. That's what it is. All right. Mm-hmm. And then last but certainly not least, deep underground in an undisclosed location, we've got Pat in a bunker, because where else would he be?
Exactly. Thanks for having me on tonight. It looks like this is going to definitely be a good topic because the word stupid was used. So that usually triggers some emotion.
I don't know if I can't, obviously we're here talking about it, so I can't say that I wasn't triggered, but I don't know that that's the word I would use, because it's not like I was yelling at my car radio or flipping them off or anything like that. I thought about making this like an official answer or response type of a thing to those guys, but they're never going to see this, chances are. So we're just going to have our own discussion. And but when I say those guys, for those of you that maybe didn't read the description of the video, the latest episode of the Gun Cranks, and those of you that if you read Guns Magazine, then you're probably familiar with the column, the Gun Cranks. But they do have a podcast as well that they put it up on YouTube, and it doesn't look dissimilar to this, really. It's 3 or 4 of them on screen like this, just discussing a topic, and it's usually hosted by I think Brent Wheat is the host. Roy Huntington is usually there. A few others kind of come and go throughout from episode to episode. So it's kind of like this one, really. I mean, we've got a couple people that are usually here, and then there may be 1 or 2 that show up occasionally when time allows. So anyway, the latest episode, I listened to it early this morning. They were talking about open carry, and they had 3 panelists, and I can't remember without looking. It was Brent Wheat, Roy Huntington, and one of the other editors. I can't name him now without going back and looking. But anyway, it was kind of they said that it might be the first time they've ever all agreed right off the bat with something, but They all agreed that not only open carry was not advised, but like you said, Travis, they used the word stupid. And so, yeah, I mean, we're going to talk about that a little bit, because the general gist of that conversation was that open carry is stupid, and they were well aware that they were going to cause a lot of people to get upset. They would draw a lot of flack from a lot of their viewers or listeners. And I think Brent's words were, and I'm paraphrasing, but I think his words were, "I don't care because they're wrong. This is stupid." It's something to that effect. And so if you had a chance to catch that, there may be some of you out there that also catch that podcast. Maybe you already know what I'm talking about. I did put the link to it in the video description, so you can go check it out later. I'm not going to say go light them up with comments. That's really what they want, right? So, I mean, we could give them what they want. I don't have a problem if you want to go over there and light them up with comments. That's your call. That's not why I'm doing this. You make your own decision. I'm going to trust you to be responsible adults that can make your own decisions. So, all right. So, I know you had said we got a few people already triggered out there in the comments. Who do we have out there? We've got G-Webs out there, Mike White, 2A Advocacy, which I don't think I've seen you out here before, Mike. So welcome, and glad to have you along. Kingpin, of course, my beautiful bride, Sandhill Sweetheart. Pat's out there. Travis is out there. Tacos and French fries. Paul's out there too. Y'all are out there and in here. 500 Magnum, worthwhile fun. And I know there's probably a few more DJs out there. And I know there'll be more people come through later. Defense Dad Gizzard. Okay, so where was the comment? I know it was from DJ. That's what it is. DJ says open carry is not stupid. Perhaps there are incidences of the occasionally ill-advised, but come on, man. Calling it stupid is, and apparently one of those icons, emoji things didn't show up right, and that's something fish. I don't know. I'm not sure what that actually means, but if that was like a way to not curse in the chat, I appreciate the discretion. So anyway, yeah, I mean, DJ kind of, now that's what I want to get into. And
catfishing.
I meant to, catfishing. Okay. Calling it stupid as cat. Is that
that's what I'm guessing? I'm guessing.
Is that like
they're catfishing for comments?
Yeah, like trolling for some comments. Trolling, not in the sense that you're being a troll, but trolling as in you're fishing for something.
Yep.
Now, I want to just start off with this point. Tomorrow is March 2nd. This is the 1st of March, 2023. Tomorrow's the 2nd, which makes it, excuse me, that makes it Every Second Matters Day. Why did my brain just draw a blank there? So Every Second Matters Day, I mean, we try every second day of the month, if possible, open carry. If that's legal where you live and advisable, we'll get into that. It's a great way to raise awareness and possibly have that one conversation. And if you can have one conversation every second about, open carry is legal and it's not, just having firearm ownership and carrying firearms it doesn't make you a bad person. And in fact, most of the time it makes you a very responsible person and a very empowered person. If you can have that conversation once a month, every month, I mean, that's awesome. I don't get that opportunity. I don't get to open carry very often on the second day of the month because it's usually a day where I am at work, which that's not an option at my office. And then when I get home, I don't go anywhere. And so I can open carry in my house and maybe I can have that conversation with the dog. But I mean, my dog's anti-gun. And if I had my
I would think though your dog is probably a good listener.
My dog is a great listener, but she's anti-unsuppressed fire. And I think with suppressed fire, it wouldn't be so bad. She's just not a fan of the loud noises. She's not a gun dog. She's a golden retriever, but she's not a hunting dog. It's not why I got her. And then we never acclimated her to the loud noises early on. And so fireworks, thunder, gunshots, she doesn't like them. So my dog's probably the most anti-gun person in the house, and the cat doesn't listen, and my bride doesn't need any convincing. So open carry in my house doesn't really prove any points. So G-Web says 1 conversation every second. That'd be a short conversation. Yeah. Well, if you have ADD like I do, you can pull it off, G-Web. All right. So what do you guys think just overall is and I think the reason why I wanted to talk about this tonight and kind of made this tonight's topic real quick is that it was their sense of it's absolute. It seemed like to all 3 of those guys, it's absolutely stupid. There is absolutely no instance where it would be ever advisable. And I kind of want to know what you guys think. We don't have to go into detail yet. We'll dig into some details, but just overall, Pat, what do you think? Is open carry 100% always stupid, or is there a place and a time for it?
Yeah, I actually caught that episode. I do listen to them on the podcast when I'm just out farming or whatever. I like a lot of different podcasts, but I do catch theirs on a regular basis every Friday. No, it's not stupid. And here's my thinking behind it. Okay, let's say you're in a state that only allows open carry. Okay, you want to protect yourself? You got to open carry because you can't conceal. So you're kind of limited to that one thing. So anybody who wants to open carry, I support them.
So
now,
let me stop you for a second. Are there any states that only allow open carry?
There were.
Okay.
Yeah.
California used to be that way.
Open carry was legal. Concealed carry was May issue.
It was May issue, and it may take a long time, like your great grandchildren's lifespan, for it to come. But yes.
Exactly.
So did they eventually ban open carry then? Is that what's happened there?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they did. Unfortunately, and this leads me to my second part.
Okay.
As far as open versus, the age-old debate of open versus concealed carry, in my opinion, and I'm speaking on my behalf, not anybody else's, any way you want to carry it. As long as you're carrying, you're protecting yourself, you're protecting your family, protecting home property, depending on states' laws and everything. Yeah, but in my opinion, if I had a choice, and let's say I was downtown somewhere that allowed concealed carry, that, lots and lots of people, I'm going to conceal carry. Now, that's just my opinion because I don't want anybody knowing what I have. And, it just, the flow in between people just goes so much easier, especially when you go into a big city or something, because anybody takes one look and you've got iron on your hip, they might freak out a little bit. They might take that step away from you or anything. So, in my opinion, if I can conceal carry, like in any of the 3 bigger cities around me, yeah, I'm going to conceal carry. But if anybody wants to open carry, I support them because they're just trying to protect themselves. So, whichever way you want to do it, fine by me.
All righty. Travis, is it absolutely stupid, or does open carry have its merits?
No, I don't think those guys have ever been to rural Nebraska before, where it's not uncommon to see people walking around open carrying. And it's funny because Michael out there is making a comment that 99.9% of the time in Lincoln, where I live, he concealed carries. Yet I've been to Walmart several times here in Lincoln, and I've seen people open carrying in Walmart in Lincoln, Nebraska. Nobody's freaked out about it. Maybe it's just the Walmart environment. But back in central Nebraska, where I used to live, I would open carry if I was going to go to the range, or if I was going to go scouting for deer, or if I was going to go hunting. And again, like Pat said, I do the concealed thing just as a convenience for me, so somebody doesn't flip out on me and do God knows what. But which is a shame. We live in a society where that has to happen, but that's the reality right now. I really think it depends on the environment. I really do, because in small town Nebraska, nobody is going to care. And it's sad that people don't ever seem to realize. I very rarely ever see the bad guy with a holster on his hip. You ever notice that? They never have the gun. The bad guy never has the holster on their hip. It's always the good guy. So it's a shame people don't recognize that. But anyway, yeah, no, I agree with Pat on that, but I think it really depends on the environment, the situation. If I was helping Pat on the farm or running on quads and there's a chance to run an environment or something, I'm going to open carry because it's convenient, easy to get to instead of trying to fill around with coveralls or whatever else I'm wearing, you know? Sure. So it depends on the environment. It really does.
Yeah, it really does. All right, Paul, what's your take? Is there a merit, a time when open carry is advised, or do you think those guys are right?
Well, I'm going to say they're unequivocally trying to get attention is what they're trying to do. Okay. Because anytime you say an absolute, you're absolutely wrong. Are there times for open carry where it makes sense? Absolutely, especially in rural America. Yeah. Are there times when it's a disadvantage for anybody that lives in a city? Yes, I'm going to say most of the time open carry is a disadvantage, even if it's legal where you're at. And I got a personal story I can share later if anybody wants to hear it. But I want to go the major disadvantage. Mike White over on YouTube, Mike White 2A Advocacy said, I wouldn't open carry as there's no one else's business what I have, and I wouldn't want some idiot trying to disarm me. And I got to say, absolutely, positively, 100% on that. You don't want some Karen thinking all of a sudden they're Karen plus police and trying to come and take your gun out of your holster for you.
Okay. Now, Gun Websites has a pretty good comment here. Open carry is like a gun logo shirt. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's a good idea. Sometimes it makes you look like a gun owner. Sometimes that is good. Sometimes not. So, yeah, I'm going to share the same feelings as the three of you. I absolutely, and I think that's the part that rankled me. It wasn't the topic. It was the absolutism that bothers me more than anything. And I don't disagree. I think they're looking for some attention. And if it works for them, great. It has so far. Look, we're all talking about them. So, I'm not opposed to giving them the attention, because it's also it's going to make for a conversation tonight, right? And I want attention too. Here's a very ill-kept secret when it comes to podcasting. We want the attention. Even if what we say pisses you off, if it makes you share it and talk about us with somebody else, like I said, if you think our show sucks, share it with all your friends and have them watch it and make fun of us too. I'll take the views from whoever's doing it. So we want the attention. Don't get me wrong. And I want the attention tonight, but I'm not going to deal in absolutist ideologies here. I don't think that there's anything that is 100% always wrong to do or right to do when it comes to carrying a firearm. Right? There's so much context, there's so much nuance, so many gray areas that we can get into, and we'll dive into a few of those while we're talking about them tonight. But that's kind of with me right there. And first and foremost, I mean, one of the things I want to get to later is, if you're going to open carry, be smart about it, right? Because we've heard the horror stories, and that was one of the points that those guys made when they see somebody open carry. They were ragging on the guys that, and yes, it's guys, and I'm saying that because all of their examples were guys. They didn't bring women up that I heard ever. And if they did, I missed that in the conversation, but they're always talking about guys. But it's, you always see the guy open carrying who's got that $10 Walmart Uncle Mike's holster that's almost worn through, and the Velcro's almost wore off on the thumb brake strap, and it's not going to retain anything, and that's if it stays put on the belt where you think it is.
If they've got a good belt, so it can stay there.
And they said it's always some $200 to $300 POS gun. It's never anything that's of any value that is one of the I don't want to rag on just cheap, but we all know that there's a reason why those guns are so cheap, and there's a reason why the people that carry every day tend to get a gun that's at least a little more expensive than $200 for the most part. at least brand new anyway. Yeah, and that's one of the things that they were ragging on. So yeah, I mean, if that's you, if you don't have a good retention holster, then yeah, open carry definitely isn't the way to go, right? But and I'm the same way. I'm going to Lincoln tomorrow to sit in the gallery and listen to more of the Senate debate in the morning for our constitutional carry bill. Now, in my Capitol building here in Lincoln, here in Nebraska, down in Lincoln, open carry is legal inside the building. Concealed carry is not legal, so I won't be concealed carrying there. But I'm not going to open carry either because I cannot take a firearm into the Senate chamber. Therefore, I have to disarm before I go in because there's no place to disarm once I'm in there. And I want to sit in the gallery and actually watch the proceedings from the gallery that's in the chamber, so guns aren't allowed in there. And so that being the case, I'm not going to open carry and then walk around. I guess I could walk around with an empty holster and show people that I'm not armed. Or they can assume it anyway if I'm in there. I haven't decided. I might do that. I've got a nice holster that came from TDM Tactical in Seward, and I've talked about that one before that Travis had made me and sent up to me. So I might show that booger off, and then the State Patrol are going to know that I disarmed before I came in just by looking at that. So we'll see what happens there. Incidentally, if you are going to be in Lincoln tomorrow, Thursday morning, March 2nd, stop and say hi. Find me. I plan on wearing a cool NFOA hat like this one, so I should be easy to spot because I'll be this good looking tomorrow too, or this not good looking. Either way, depends on how you look at it. So yeah, there's definitely times that you shouldn't open carry. When I'm out at my dad's, it's not a big deal. Open carry is not. Nobody in my dad's house is afraid of guns, and nobody in my dad's house has any question about my responsibility. Keep in mind where it belongs, and only unholstering for a very good reason. So yeah, I mean, it's where I come from. If I went up to my dad's and we decided to go to town, and I walked into any store, any restaurant, in any gas station, in either of the two towns that from my dad's, when we say we're going to town, it's either 30 miles one way or 20 miles the other way, in either direction. If I walk into any establishment that's not a bar, and it's not going to cause any problems whatsoever, that I got a gun on my hip. In fact, I've done it. Didn't even think about it. I was hunting deer, and I was carrying my revolver on my hip, shucked off my coveralls. We went to town to check in a deer at the check station, and went into the gas station and walked around, and nobody said anything because, I mean, it's Kippahaw County, Nebraska. It's the Mandalorian. How's that go? I'm a Mandalorian. Weapons are part of my religion. Well, I'm a Kippahaw County ranch kid. Weapons are just a tool on a ranch, so nobody thinks about it twice. In fact, if you don't have a gun up there, you're kind of weird. So, and if you're anti-gun, you're not going to last long up there because they're gonna run you out of town. Paul, go ahead.
I wanted the Guns and Barbecue just had a comment on YouTube I want to address. Never once have I strapped my gun on my belt and said, "Oh boy, I hope I get some attention today." There are people that do every day. Just look for Second Amendment or First Amendment audits on YouTube.
Yeah.
Yes, they're especially in Florida. It happens a lot. Florida man is notorious for doing this, right? The mythical Florida man. That's not
and those people hurt us.
They do. And I just watched one the other day where guy was coming back from
they're fishing. They're always fishing, and
that's usually
I don't disagree with you, but they're also trying to make a point that the cops should not harass them when they are walking to and from fishing points, open carrying. Because I get that, but it also it's not a good. There's no good argument for or against it.
Yeah, this guy got detained by the police on the way back to his car. He wasn't back to his car yet.
Yeah,
and he had apparently it was an intentional Second Amendment audit. He had a chest rig with his GoPro, so he was recording the whole thing. You know, and did everything by the book, and didn't he was very compliant with them, right, as you would be. But of course, they disarmed him, and he had an open carry and a concealed carry firearm on him at the time. And he explained to them he even quoted chapter and verse
City
from the
ordinance.
statute.
Yeah.
And the responding officer, said, well, we'll check that out. He didn't know that it was legal to open carry when you are in the process of, or traveling to or from the ings, the fishing, the hunting, the camping, that kind of stuff. So those cops learned something that day, I think, as well. And at the end, he said, the copy of it said, I understand it may be you're right, but it's not advisable because this is going to happen. People are going to call, turn you in. And at that time, I was almost ready to yell at my radio or at my screen and say, that's on those people, though. I mean, it's a teachable moment. And that's one of the things that, were I to yell at the gun cranks, I would have yelled, because one of the comments they made was, of course, we all know that every time somebody open carries, when the moms demand action moms take one look at that guy with the open carry and say, oh, you're right. It does make a lot more sense to have firearms. And, making fun of the fact that, you'll never convince them by open carrying. But it's just like anything else. If you're having a debate on Facebook or a debate in an actual public setting in the real town square with somebody, you're not trying to change their mind, right? And we're not trying to reach the 100% dyed-in-the-wool anti-gun people, the Shannon Watts, the what's the pillow guy that failed, David Hogg.
Yeah.
I'm always going to remember him as the not my pillow guy, because that's what everybody bought, was not his pillows. Anyway, we're not trying to change their minds. That is never going to happen. We recognize that it is never going to happen. But when you have a debate, you're not only talking to the person with whom you're debating, you're talking to all of the people listening or on social media reading what's being said. And number one, we've said this before, keep that in mind, that you're not going to change the minds of the person that you're talking to, but you may sway the opinions of the people who are observing. So remember that there will be people watching, and you need to represent us well. Excuse me. But that's my biggest gripe with what they were saying is we may bring awareness. And they thought it was dumb to say, well, if we open carry more, then we'll normalize, we'll normalize this. And they thought that was a stupid idea. And I don't understand, unless they're already scared. And that's they're either just flat out, it's almost clickbait, and it's not clickbait because it's not a headline of one thing and then an article of another. But it's as close to clickbait as I could possibly find. Flat out trolling, because they either didn't believe that to begin with, which is very disingenuous, in which case, shame on you guys. Your magazine should tank if that's the case. I don't think that's the case. I think these guys are genuinely jaded. Two of them are former Leos, and they look at people who open carry with a suspicious mind because they have the mind of a cop. They look at everybody with a suspicious mind. Now, anybody who's willing to advertise the fact that they are armed clearly isn't up to nefarious purposes. We all know that, because they are going to be watched like a hawk, right? If you're not doing anything wrong, then you don't care if people are watching you. But if you plan on doing something bad, you want to avoid the attention for as long as you possibly can. But it's the fact that these guys are scared to even entertain the notion that open carry may do some good somewhere tells me that they're completely scared of the anti-gun people. And if push ever comes to shove, they're probably going to be some of the first ones to turn them in. Which, again, if that's the case, then I don't know if I may not renew my subscription if that's really true. Either way, they're either being disingenuous or they're being 100%. They're saying one thing in their articles, and then with their actual words on a podcast, they're proclaiming the exact opposite feelings. And that makes them kind of wishy-washy, in my opinion. So I don't know. That may make people upset here, but I don't care. Brent Wheat, Roy Huntington, and the other guy maybe need to do a little gut check, look inside their drawers, find their balls, and remember that they are fine, upstanding, Second Amendment supporting, gun-owning men, because they're sure not acting like it.
Are they sponsored by USCCA?
Gosh, I hope not. I'm certified by USCCA.
I would go check and see their sponsors, because they might just be a little, yeah.
Well, hold on.
I mean, I can't think of a better way to go and mock a practice than if it's, the opposite party's bankrolling you. So, I'm just saying.
I've got rolled a little too quick. I've got an issue here. This is what is this? March 2023. I haven't read it yet. I'll tell you who their sponsors are, because you can tell by there's a big one. You can tell by their ads.
The gun that doesn't run. Yeah.
Who are their big ads? Oh,
just one thing I was going to comment on Guns and Barbecue's comment out there while you're looking that up there, John. He's saying that, the auditors, their reasons are 100% different than those that do open carry. The fact is that whether it's somebody open carrying walking down the street, or you're going to the store and you're open carrying, you're still being visible to the public, which is resulting in law enforcement showing up. It doesn't matter. The situation is they don't know if you've got a GoPro. Nobody can see that from 25 yards away. If you've got a camera rig or something on that you're wearing and you're doing it intentionally. I remember we had a funny story of this. There's a guy here in Lincoln that had done that. He had his camera on, had an AR-15 over his back, and he was like walking up and down one of the major thoroughfares in Lincoln. And just to show you how maybe gun-friendly Nebraska is, you wouldn't think about this in Lincoln, but, he kept like trying to do these 2A audits on the police, and they kept telling him, you have a right to open carry. You're not shocking us. You can do this. Like, they're trying to tell him, and he's like, yeah, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? They're like, well, you're not breaking any laws. We just want you to know that people are letting us know that they're wondering why you're walking around with a gun over your shoulder. But we're telling you can do it. But we're just saying that, if we got to keep coming back here, they didn't freak out about it and hold them at gunpoint, tell them to get on the ground. They just said, obviously, you're practicing your right. So what point, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's and I don't know, are we talking about this Guns and Barbecue? Well, we're talking about what they're talking about, and they lumped everybody together. So yeah, there is 100% different reason between everyday open carry, because Guns and Barbecue earlier had said in the comment that he open carries almost every day. That's his normal mode is open carry, versus the 2A.
And I completely support that. 100% carry. And that's what I said at the beginning of the deal. It was, I don't care how you carry, as long as you carry. It's just, in my opinion, that was how I carry. So that's just my way.
And I'll do
everybody else's.
I don't care what you
ideas. Carry. Yeah, and I don't care what you carry, as long as you shoot it every once in a while and make sure you're accurate with it. Go for it. I don't care. The Second Amendment's there for a reason, whether it's open, closed, or any which way.
Yeah, exactly. G-Web says if open carry is embarrassing, if gun stickers, if sloppy holsters are embarrassing, if low-end guns are embarrassing, where does it stop? Most of these things are indicators of new gun owners, except for that holster that's all worn out, because that's not a new gun owner. That's just somebody that's been
cheap, refuses to buy something different.
Yeah, exactly. Cheap or
don't. No, I don't want to shame broke. Why fix it?
I don't want to shame somebody for being poor or being broke, because I get it. So if that's all you have, then again, I'd rather you have it and not need it than need it and not have it. That was another thing that they talked about in their show was, how easy it is to disarm somebody. And if somebody knows you have a gun, then, that is, you run that risk. Anybody who open carries, I think, needs to embrace not only the responsibility, but the potential consequences, right? It could mean that you're wearing a big banner that says "Shoot me first." Possibly, that's a risk you run, right? You file that under acceptable risk when you walk out the door with an open carry. That yes, I understand that I am announcing to the world that I'm armed. That could be good, it could be bad, but I'm willing to take the good and the bad together today. And either way, it's you've got the right to do that in most places. Or at least if you are in a place that you've got the right to do that, then there's no reason not to, of course. Go ahead, Paul.
I want to be devil's advocate just a little bit here, because is it easy to disarm somebody it's easy to disarm somebody's if you've had any handgun retention at all. And if you're going to open carry, I would strongly encourage you to get a handgun retention class in. They're not that expensive, and they're offered through a lot of places that offer handgun training. If you've been through a handgun retention course, I'm going to say it's extremely difficult to disarm you. And not only it's extremely dangerous to try to disarm somebody that even if they haven't had a full handgun retention class, your chances of getting perforated by a few extra holes are extremely high. Open carry, concealed carry doesn't matter. So yeah, is there a possibility somebody's going to disarm somebody who's open carrying who isn't paying attention? Yeah, chances are not that great though.
Yeah, that's well, and again, I can't think of times that I've ever heard of somebody getting shot by their own gun. I know it happens. I know that there are occasionally law enforcement officers that also end up staring down the wrong end of their own service weapon. I know that happens. But, that's kind of like lightning strikes. I know those happen too. My guess is if we started compiling statistics, you're more likely to be struck by lightning than shot by your own gun. But
you're more likely to shoot a bad guy with his own gun than be shot by your own.
There you go. So I mean,
I'm doing a Google search, and there's news reports of people that were killed that were open carrying. There's Keith Lamont was killed in 2016. He was open carrying. Police killing of Colorado. Hero illustrates just used cops face. November 18th of 2021, a guy was killed by police who was open carrying or was defending others. They thought he was the bad guy. Just saying, it can happen. I mean, we can argue this for hours until either one of us we're gonna agree to disagree.
And
it will happen. I mean, it is going to happen.
Yeah,
I mean,
if you've used your firearm in defense of yourself or others, that's why when and again, it's unfortunate that the average John Q public has never been to any kind of firearms class.
Yeah,
and it's very unfortunate because that's one of the things that should be taught in any basic class that's geared around using a firearm for self-defense, whether it's a carry class or a home defense class or whatever, that when you make that call on 911, or if somebody else has called 911, by the time the authorities respond, you better not be holding your gun. Either have it holstered or have it lay it down in a safe location, a secure location or something, but do not be touching it when the police respond on scene, because they're very jumpy. All they know is shots fired. They don't know who's the good guy, who's the bad guy. Don't give them a reason to mix you up and mistake you, because yes, we know that does happen.
And I'm going to say it doesn't matter if it's concealed or open, because it's open at that point. You're pointing, you're out there, it's in your hands. At that point, it's open.
Because it's in hand, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter where your holster was. It was an open carry holster or a concealed carry holster at that point. Just have the thing holstered. If it isn't like an inside the waist holster, and you do reholster it, I would go one farther and not conceal it at that point. Have your hands, up above your head when the police show up, but let them see that is in your holster, that they can see it. It's not concealed. Again, that's not what we're here to talk about tonight, but just be smart and don't resist. You're going to get arrested. Don't resist. You're going to get roughed up. It's just, that's how it's going to be. They don't know who you are. Expect it, and then it won't catch you off guard. You won't fight with them, and they probably won't kill you.
Probably.
That's good. The people that got links. So
I want a 500 Magnum. And by the way, 500 Magnum tunes into my stuff a lot, comments over there a lot. And thank you for doing that, 500 Magnum. Always, I love his comment. You could always carry two guns, one open, one concealed.
There it is. Yep.
And tune in on Friday to train on Fridays on the bullet.
As you should.
If they're both
leave the open one empty. When the guy goes for your gun, you can shoot him with your concealed. Sorry, that was actually
there you go. Hey, man.
Sorry, that was a joke.
No, that's awesome. Okay, so let's see here. Did I miss anything else? Oh, Steve Zero's out there, which I have not seen Steve Zero, on the show, but apparently he knows Gizzard. So Steve says open carry is rare around his parts. He's sure plenty of concealed carry though, and that's the whole point of concealed carry, because they may or may not be. It may or may not be prevalent. You'd never know, and that's the point, right? Open carry does, it's got its drawbacks. There are some reasons not to open carry, and being in a very densely populated or a very urban scenario, I think it'd be, I'm not going to open carry around Lincoln tomorrow when I'm in town. It'll be concealed carry, which is, again, I understand this is probably not tactically sound to announce this to the world, but yes, I will disarm before I go into the building. So if you find me between my vehicle and the building, yes, I'll be vulnerable. So if I tell you what, though, if anybody else, if you're carrying, just kind of watch my back, would you? I appreciate it.
Well, if you need an escort, I can be there. If you
would
just give me like 10 minutes, yeah, we'll do that.
Is that another? So
I'll be open carrying the tiger stripe shoddy.
I did not realize that escort service was also in your repertoire, Travis. But
I'm not. No, it was more like armed protection services. Let's not.
Wow. You do not want to come into the middle of that
No,
conversation.
I'm not a gigolo. Just for the record. So,
the escort service.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
That means that you're talking about doing service work on a Ford hatchback car.
Look, John, all I'm trying to say is I'll be your wingman any day. Okay, that's all I'm trying to say. Okay, that's it. All right.
All right. Thanks, Iceman. I appreciate you.
No problem, man. Or you can be mine. Whatever. It doesn't matter. So.
Okay, so G-Webs has a very, very pertinent question. Is it true that people who are against open carry are really just embarrassed of their caliber? Probably, because I think of a lot of the people who are against open carry prefer that 40 caliber sucky and wussy, I think is what that's Paul's looking at me like
Hi, I'm Pat and I carry a 9mm. Hi, Pat.
I have handguns of all kinds of different calibers.
For those of you that know Pete over at Gun Websites, he's a very firm champion of the 40 Smith & Wesson, and so I dig every time I can. And he never passes up a chance to dig at the 9mm carriers. But I tell you what, when it comes down to it, I don't care if you're shooting 9 or 40. I don't want to be on the receiving end. Even if it's 22 short, I don't want to be on the receiving end. So
I like 40 super carry, also known as 10mm.
No, that's just 40 super.
Is that 40 super?
Yeah,
okay.
Like
No, it's carry. That way you can carry it, so you don't have to be embarrassed about carrying it. It's made for people, so you can carry it. So it's
maybe that's it.
It's carry approved. So yep.
To paraphrase Mr. Mom, 45, 46, whatever
works, whatever it takes. That's right.
Gary says he's currently carrying a 38 Special Plus P. 500 Magnum is going against his name, saying 40 for life.
Ooh.
So, Uplift Mofo Party Plan. It says #Wingman Escort Service. Travis, we need that on a hat.
#Wingman Escort Service. That's right. I'll be your wingman any day. That's going to be my motto. So, yep.
All right. So, all right, Paul, you said you had an anecdote about the open carry.
Well,
this give you a chance to share that.
This has been, I believe it was 7 years ago. I was in your neck of the woods. I was at a Flying J truck stop with a student while I was still driving truck. I was a trainer, and I stopped at the Flying J just west of Omaha.
That is not my neck of the woods. That is still Omaha. That's not Nebraska. Go ahead.
And it would take 30 minutes to go through the whole story. Extremely thumbnail version. We were fueling. A driver decided he had a problem with my student, was marching up to my I was in the bunk, student was in the driver's seat. Student was marching up, was going to climb through the open window of my truck and start pummeling on my student. And as he was just stepping up to come through the window, I yelled at the guy in a very loud command voice, "Dude, I've got a gun." I wasn't even holding it at that point. long story short, 30 minutes later, I'm talking to the Nebraska State Police or whatever their version of state police is. And I spend 5 days in jail for terroristic threats with a use of a handgun tag. I was facing 55 years in prison. What saved me is the fact that I was not open carrying. The guy never saw what kind of a gun I had. He told the police I had a chrome revolver. When the police recovered a absolutely rock stock Glock Model 22, by the way, in 40 caliber Smith & Wesson, and that's what saved me, is that the guy had no clue. Well, that, and they could never find the guy again. It was Mr. O is what they called him in court. Because they could not pronounce his name. It was a Middle Eastern sounding name, but they never could find the guy again, period. And that's, the charges were dropped with prejudice, which means they can never be brought again. But if I had been open carrying, if I had displayed my gun, then he could have described it accurately, and I might have been in a bit more trouble.
Right. So yeah, good thing that you didn't actually have to. I don't want to say the word brandish because that has a negative connotation, but I'm still good. I should use the word because it's not negative. We don't have a brandishing law here in Nebraska, or an anti-brandishing law, I should say. But yeah, I'm glad that you didn't actually have to brandish said weapon, or heaven forbid, actually point it at somebody.
Yeah,
because that's still deadly force. So, all right, the Armsman has a question out there. Do any of you train in not just firearms, but hand-to-hand combat, self-defense as well, even if basic? Just thought about it when you said you were going to be vulnerable. Do I train? No, I do not. Would I like to? Absolutely. But there's the two deciding factors that work against me in almost every other situation bite me on this one too. Those are time and money. So if I could afford to take all the training classes and had the time to go to take all the training classes that I wanted to, anytime I'm not teaching a class, I'd be in one, honestly. That's just not in the cards, but and priorities. Before I take an unarmed self-defense class, I need to add some other armed instructor courses under my belt, so I can actually expand my own offerings. Maybe one day I'll get there, but for now, no. Paul, have you taken unarmed self-defense classes?
Not in about I'm going to say 30 years.
Okay.
As a young man, I was really big into some martial arts, but I haven't taken any unarmed self-defense classes since I was about 25 years old. And so I should say not recently. I did take the handgun retention, which is heavily weighted that way, but not anything unarmed. And here's a little bit of free advice. The first thing I learned, and I don't think I'm giving away any secrets here. The very first thing I learned in handgun retention, if somebody's trying to take away your gun, shoot them with it. That's lesson number one.
There you go.
So
there you go. Yeah, they're not taking it away from you to be nice to you. That's for sure. What was I? Oh, Guns and Barbecue said, be careful by announcing you'll be unarmed. You made yourself a target. Bring it on. If there's bring it on. We're going to be in broad daylight, downtown Lincoln, right by the Capitol, where there are plenty of law enforcement officers close by to respond to the shots fired. So at least I know there's a pretty fair chance that I may get an ambulance before I bleed out completely. However, there are 16 people currently watching. And out of those 16, my guess is that fewer than 5 of them are in Nebraska. And out of those 5, only 1 is likely to be in Lincoln tomorrow when I'm there. And he's on the panel, and I trust him. I would trust my life to him to be my wingman and escort me. So that being said, I don't think that I've really put my neck out that far. I appreciate the concern. I do. But yeah, that's one of the things of having the best show that nobody's watching is that nobody's watching it. So when I say stuff like that, I will be here at this time at this place unarmed. Yeah, I'm not too concerned. And if that bites me in the butt, then yes, you can all say that you told me so, or that he told me so.
If I could, I'm going to be unarmed in the shower about 30 minutes after the show goes dark. So, you know.
And again, that's that's just preposterous and appalling. Honestly, why don't you have a shower gun?
Well, you know, I only have so much money.
Yeah, I understand. So it needs to be a Glock or something else that is fairly impervious to the
porcelain, ceramic, no metal.
You know, there's no. I mean, you could, with a couple command sticky strips and a good Rubbermaid container that seals up watertight. I mean, you could throw a Glock and a little desiccant packet in there just in case, and always have a shower gun ready to go.
They need to make the shower buddy where like you can mount it in your bathroom and it's like a watertight case, like you said, it got a little sensor on it. You can push it. I've seen it drops down. You can grab your porcelain Glock or whatever, your ceramic Glock.
Yeah, the Glock 7.
Yep, the Glock 7 costs more than all of us making 2 months' salary. Yep.
Oh my God. And you can hang it right next to the place where you put that little cup holder that sticks to the shower wall to hold the shower beer. So
that's right, absolutely. I remember I saw a Nothing Fancy video many years ago. It was, I don't know if it was K-Bar or somebody made a plastic knife that was actually sharp. You could actually kill somebody with it, but he said that'd be perfect for like your bathroom defense.
Got a lot of
just nylon, sharp.
It's one of the plastics that they use for their handles. What do they call it? Grivex?
Is it? Oh, it's like Kraton or something like that.
No, that's rubber. But Cold Steel has a lot of their more popular designs with it's just a solid piece of plastic. I think it's trademarked like Grivex. Okay. And yeah, it can be sharpened down, and it's Two Live Moves out there. He says he's got a shower sword unless it's a cold. I should have read that entirely before I put it on the screen. Oh, you know what? We offer no apologies. Sorry,
left turn here, left field. Last week I was right where the picture behind me is. Actually, let me go ahead and point right above my finger there, the little bay right there, right above my finger. I was snorkeling in that bay right up there.
Nice.
And believe it or not, I was not armed while I was underwater there either. And
you didn't even have a
harpoon gun?
Nope, not even a harpoon gun.
Yeah, man.
I tell you what, you were surrounded by like the 72 Virgin Islands or something, though, weren't you? So those virgins will keep you safe. It's okay. All right, so let's see what else. Worthwhile Fun says she used to do some Krav Maga with a 365 blue gun. So now I'm curious, Worthwhile Fun, does that mean that you incorporated the pistol in as a weapon, not in the sense that you pulled the trigger and shot with it, but like as a blunt force weapon in the Krav Maga? Because I know it's Israeli martial art, but I don't know much about it besides it's completely brutal, and it's one of the ones that will leave you when you come back from like a training session, you're going to be almost as beat up as somebody that you actually employ it against. That's about all I know. G-Webs wants to know, what of the people who open carry responsibly? Is there any benefit to society when potential criminals see there are random armed folks out there? I think that's almost impossible metric to measure, because it's hard to measure deterrence, because we'll never know how many crimes were thwarted by the fact that there was clearly an armed presence, especially a non-law enforcement presence. I think the potential is there for positive. I will say this: there is plenty of evidence to indicate that where there is no perceived armed presence, that the potential for violence is increased exponentially. Like we've got that data, right? Over 98% of mass shootings happen in gun-free zones since they started compiling the data back in, what was that, 1952?
That just came out from Dr. John Lott not that long ago. Yeah, I believe your numbers are
Crime
accurate.
Prevention Research Center data that's been compiled. But yeah, that's that's a great statistic to keep in your pocket and just to know that yes, gun-free zones will get you killed. Well, they won't. They won't necessarily get you killed, but gun-free zones are more likely to get you killed than gun-agnostic zones. Right? Not only gun-friendly zones are pretty good. I mean, when's the last time we heard of an active shooter at a gun show or inside a police station? Right? I mean, it just doesn't happen. Why? Because it would be over before it gets rolling, and that doesn't serve their purpose. They don't get famous. They don't prove a point. There's no manifesto involved. It just shows that they're stupid. That's stupid right there. Becoming going to a place to do active shooter things and try to become a murderer surrounded by people with firearms. So that's where's another place you never see reports of an active shooter incident at a machine gun shoot or some other not like a rally, but one of those events that happen out on a firing range, like the Knob Creek shoot, that kind of stuff. That's never been an option. Why? Because there'd be no point. They wouldn't get anything accomplished. So, okay. So Worthwhile Fun did answer. She says she learned how to break holds, create distance, and then draw or run. Got to practice drawing from concealment with a plastic gun that fit the appendix holster. So, which is, that's a great endorsement of having a blue gun, even for your own training, so that you can, you can practice that stuff without using your actual firearm, especially if you're practicing with a partner, because unloaded or not, you don't use a real firearm in that situation. So use the blue gun for that. Yes. All right. And for those of you that are watching, and you may have noticed that Pat's no longer with us, and I did see over in the side chat, he had mentioned that he's got to go tend to a cow that's having a calf. He is an actual working farmer and rancher. So
I thought his calves were having issues, like he had to go do some yoga or something. He said,
I think he's got a carnivore. He had to go stretch out and drink some pickle juice, maybe
get the yoga pants on and put some chai down. Yep.
Could be it.
That's Pat's style. He does that a lot. Like
I bet he does. Yes, he's a meditation.
Meditates. He burns sage. I mean, he smudges regularly. Yeah.
I don't know that that's something we can say on a family show. I guess we're not really a family show.
No, that's where you burn sage in your house. You go around your house. That's smudging is what they call it.
I don't know.
Or so I've been told. I'm not really into this whole new age thing. You
guys that do escort service, I don't know. You know things that the rest of us don't.
We encounter a variety of environments. I mean, the feng shui.
I have young, tender ears over here, so
Yeah, you do. Yeah, all the years you spent as a truck driver, I know you do.
It's security escort services. Security. You keep forgetting to put that in front of it. So
security.
Gosh, John. Man. All right.
Dude, I'm just trying to get you some dates here. And if ladies think that they can just hire you for your company to escort them safely from point A to point B,
like Kevin Costner in The Bodyguard, that was actually based on my life. That whole story, Whitney Houston, it was me. I'm still waiting for the the royalties to come in from that one.
Didn't you die at the end of that?
Well, we had to change the ending because I didn't, so we had to make sure it fit, the story. We could have got an Oscar nomination if we hadn't killed off the main character. Yeah.
He didn't die at the end of that? Oh, I thought he died.
Just remember, you either die or nearly kill off the main character in every Oscar-nominated film. I mean, that's pretty much what you have to do. So that is the formula. So
that could be
Titanic, The Notebook. it can go on and on and on. So.
I agree with G-Webs out there in the chat too, that it was very inconvenient for us that Pat would schedule a cow to be calving while we're going live.
I know.
He knew.
I thought he was the cow whisperer. I thought he could say
he knew about the new night. It's not like he could, he could have told her to just wait till Thursday, but no, he wouldn't do it. So that was pretty inconsiderate. I agree.
Yeah. Yep.
Of course, we're kidding. So I think we're going to wrap it up. I started out kind of, I guess butthurt would be, if I'm full disclosure, I started out kind of butthurt this morning when I was listening to those guys. But my day went really crazy, got super busy today, didn't have a whole lot of time to think about it and stew on it. And so by the time we got here tonight, I kind of vented my frustrations about it, and I feel pretty good now. So I think we're just going to quit on a high point. No pun intended, Travis. And
I'm bummed.
oh man, thanks folks. I'm here all week. Try the veal. Don't forget
Right.
to tip
Absolutely.
So I will give a shameless plug out there for Pat. He is Pat in a Bunker over on YouTube. It's the time of year where he is getting calves, obviously, and so he doesn't have a lot of spare time to be making a lot of videos, but you can go check out the stuff that he has made. And then when the spring gets closer to summer and he's got a little bit more time, then he will of course be making a few more things. And I believe you can expect to see him at the Thunder on the Prairie, which Travis will give you a chance to talk about here in a second.
Oh yeah.
But go check out Pat in a Bunker and see all the stuff that he's doing. And Pat, we do appreciate you joining us while you could. So Travis, any closing thoughts and then shameless plugs?
Yeah, and like I said, the idea on open carrying, whether it's super or not, depends on the environment. I mean, and I really do feel like those guys were just going for the whatever you want to call it, the title that's going to hook you in, the clickbaity title. But if it sounds like they really were opposed to it, as a consensus, then I mean they're entitled to their opinion, but I guess they don't really venture out much of their environment to see how people do carry and what kind of conditions they carry under, Yeah. But I mean, you do whatever you're most comfortable with, whatever you feel best about. I mean, I've done both and I've been happy doing both and never had an incident either way. Otherwise, and then so shameless plugs again, check out Caliber Corner Saturday mornings at 8 a.m. Central Time. It's my podcast. And then the first Saturday and Sunday in June, we've got Thunder on the Prairie 2023 coming up. And basically, it's going to be a gathering of people that a lot of them are going to be YouTubers. A lot of Pro 2A people are going to be there. It's going to be a range day and then a day where on Sunday where you'll have time and space to film if you want to for your gun channel. We're going to have tons of different firearms there. We got a lot of sponsors on board. I think it's going to be a pretty good time. I think it's going to be great. And then also, if you're interested in getting merch for the event, we do have the official logo for it that Gizzard Gary won the contest for. And if you go to my community page, you can find the link for that merch, and it should be showing up soon. Like under my videos, there are all the t-shirt links and stuff like that for Teespring where that design is. I just put that up there first to get the distribution out there. But I'll be making like a formal video talking about Thunder on the Prairie, what it is, what to expect, where to go to register for it. That's going to happen soon. I'm going to get together with Defense Dad and we'll hammer out the details with the range owner, and then we'll have it all basically set up so people can register for it. It's like $25 a day. And we usually have some ammo sponsors. We've got all kinds of cool gear that we give away, lots of good stuff. It's a fun time, man. It is a lot of fun and gives guys a chance to kind of get out there and do some shooting on a range where they might not get that kind of freedom otherwise at the ranges that they go to. So that's what Thunder on the Prairie is all about. So, yeah.
All right. I was trying to figure out if the gun cranks were in this episode of Guns Magazine. But that might be over in Handguns Magazine because I know I read that every month, but I'm not even seeing it here in this one. So it might not be. I don't know.
Did you post
what show we're talking about? So yeah, the link is in the video description. Yeah. You guys can go check it out later. But it's the gun cranks, and it's from the editors of Guns Magazine and all of their, what is that? That's FMG, I think. Yeah, it's from those guys. Paul, any closing thoughts and then shameless plugs for what you're doing over with all your stuff?
Well, closing thoughts is if I want you to carry, period. If open carry is your thing, then open carry is your thing. I'm going to say, please be presentable when you do it. Keep your beard short if you've got a beard. Ladies especially, keep your beard short. But seriously, have a good appearance. Look like a good normal person. Don't be unbathed. Don't be nasty looking, but go out and if you're going to be doing it, be a good representative of the gun community. Also, be extra heightened aware of what's going on around you, because you are, whether you believe it or not, a little bit more of a target, and you are absolutely advertising yourself as part of the gun community. So please be careful when you do it. Shameless plugs. Every Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. Central Time, I do the Bullet over on the Polite Society podcast page, both YouTube and Facebook. And on Saturdays, we go live at noon Central Time. Also, you can catch me on Monday nights at 6 p.m. Central Time with the Polite Society podcast. Everything I do is under the banner of the Second Amendment Foundation, and huge kudos to them for allowing me to do all this stuff under their banner. So that's what I got,
which is very cool. And you don't just do it under your banner; you also have an actual title with.
I do. I am the Deputy Director of New Media for the Second Amendment Foundation.
I was gonna probably goof it up. I'm glad you said it before I could try and stumble over it. But thank you very much for being here. And yeah, my own closing thoughts. I mean, I'm just gonna sum it up with this: discretion is the better part of valor. So use discretion when open carrying suits your mood and possibly your intent or your purpose. Then absolutely go do it if it's not illegal to do it where you plan to do it. And if it doesn't suit that, and being a little more discreet would be more tactically sound, then again, just use your head. It's not only for holding a hat or for growing hair, although some of us don't even use it for that. But that's why we use it for holding a hat. But yeah, just think it out. And like Paul said, I mean, if you're going to open carry, you absolutely cannot become complacent for even a second and lose track of your surroundings. Kind of be a little extra vigilant, because yes, there are people who will try to use you as an example and prove a point that, yeah, it can be taken away from you, or it should be taken away from you, or something like that. Or Karens are going to Karen, so you may get the cops called on you. If those are risks that are acceptable to you where you live, that it's probably more likely it's less likely to happen than it is to happen. Go do your thing. But again, just be aware that in trying to climb up on a soapbox, you may become a martyr instead, right? So keep that in mind too. All right, so real quick here, we're going to go through the list because I know we had some late minute additions. My producer has handed me this list for I think this is the third time now, and she keeps taking it back and adding more people. So thank you out there, those of you that are commenting. Over on the Facebook side, I only saw comments from Michael Frost, who is also down there in Lincoln. So I take that back. There are probably two people that I don't have to worry about that actually know that I'll be walking from my vehicle. Of course, I'm not going to say where I'll be walking from, so you're going to have to try to find me first. But over there on the YouTube side, we had quite a few of you out there commenting tonight, and I'm thankful for all of you. Gun Websites, Kingpin, Mike White, 2A Advocacy. Again, welcome to the show. Pat in a Bunker, Travis P11, Tacos and French Fries, 500 Magnum, welcome back. Worthwhile Fun, welcome back. DJ Play Nice, Defense Dad, Gizzard Gary, Guns and Barbecue, Steve Zero, good to have you here. Scott 79, Uplift Mofo Party Plan, Two Live Moo, The Armsman, Agorizer, and Hillbilly. And if I didn't say welcome back, it's because you've been here more than a few times, and we already know that you know how to find us. So those of you that just stumbled across us, we appreciate that. Please go subscribe. Hit us on both channels. Please go find us on Rumble. I would love to go, when we get done here, I'd love to open Rumble up and find out that we were over 17 subs. So that would be great. And that's kind of it. So remember, Wednesdays are the new night, same time, 8 o'clock Central Time. We'll be doing this for the foreseeable future, at least the month of March, and then we will we'll have figured out by the last Wednesday of March whether it's going to continue or if we're going to go back to Thursdays. But for now, it is Wednesday nights. On behalf of Sandhill's Sweetheart and Pat in a Bunker, Travis P11, Paul Lathrop, the dog, Liberty Bell over here that's coming to see us, and myself, we love you. God bless you. Please help us become no longer the best show that nobody's watching. Let's grow if we can. I think adding an audience on Rumble would be great for that. So please help us do that. And if you are in Nebraska, if you can get to the Capitol tomorrow morning or Friday morning and just sit in the gallery for the debate, that'd be awesome. If you're in Nebraska and you can't make it to the Capitol, we've got homework. Please contact every senator. There are 49 of them. You need to contact 48 of them and say, please support LB 77 constitutional carry. The 49th one would be Senator Brewer, who introduced it. You don't have to ask him to support his own bill. However, you can still contact him and thank him if you'd like to, but we want to get constitutional carry across the finish line this year. That's going to take effort. That's going to take increased pressure on these senators. That's going to take some skin in the game from you, Nebraskans. So if you want this to happen and you didn't help, then you really, not only are you not part of the solution, but you are part of the problem. So get your butts in gear. And if I see you in the balcony tomorrow, or if you see me, stop and say hi. Or if you catch me outside in the hallway, I want to know that you saw us here. So go join NFOA, NebraskaFirearms.org, and become a member. Follow us on Facebook and keep track of all that too. So, all right, all that said, it's time to go. Good night. Get out of here. Get off my lawn.